Good evening, CAN TV viewers. Thank you for tuning in once again on this Monday at 7:30 p.m. This is the Doty Report on Comprehensive Health. I am Yolanda Givens. I am the host for today, and we are excited to be back here to provide you with some very relevant and important information and have some conversations about our challenges that we all face within our community as it relates to health. You know, we're hoping that we give you some good information, some relevant information, and even possibly connect you to some resources. The Doty Report is produced by the Georgia Doty Comprehensive Health Organization, a nonprofit organization with a long history of being a health advocate and promoting and educating the community on just living a healthy lifestyle. We have to give a shout out always to our founder and CEO, Mr. Ronald Don Doty. Hey, Mr. Doty. So, our topic for today is nutrition, fitness, and obesity. And we are very excited about having two professionals in the field that's going to answer some of my questions. You call in so they can answer some of your questions, and they are just going to share information about their area of expertise and give us some tips and, you know, just inform us. And I always like to make it a good show and have a good time and have some fun, even though we're talking about some very important information. So anyway, so we're going to get started. Viewers, please get your questions ready. Again, we are talking about nutrition, fitness, obesity, and we know we are constantly seeing on the news, in the newspaper, on social media, everybody's talking about getting fit, being healthy, eating the right food. So that's what the conversation is going to be about today. I have two very lovely ladies sitting to my right. First, I have Miss Christine Dyan. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. She is a registered dietitian nutritionist. She launched her holistic wellness company in 2003. She has been featured in several magazines, Health and Soul, Today's Dietitian, The Elephant Journal, and a few others. She was also one of the nutrition experts on the TV series Too Fat for 15.
Yes.
Thank you for being one of our guests today.
Thank you for having me.
And next to her, we have Miss Lauren, who is a health advocate. She is a principal of RX Exercise, a firm that engages prescription medical exercises for seniors and active adults. She is a personal trainer and a fitness instructor, and she has actually been playing a very important role with the Georgia Doty organization since 2013. Is that correct?
That's correct, Yolanda.
That is correct. So we're going to get into the conversation about nutrition and fitness and obesity. And I'm just going to start off with asking the question about, so what is a healthy diet? In school, we learned the pyramid, you know, but I don't know, I think that's kind of been replaced a little bit.
Outdated,
okay,
yes.
So what is actually a healthy diet?
So now we have, instead of the food pyramid, we have they call it My Plate, or the plate method.
Okay.
And so what that is a more visual representation of how we should be eating when we have any of our meals.
Okay.
So with the plate method, you want to make sure that half of your plate is actually your vegetables.
Okay.
And a quarter of your plate is your starch, and a quarter of your plate is your protein.
Okay.
That's whether it's animal protein or plant protein. So
Okay.
if you're vegetarian, it could be something like a soy-based tofu or tempeh or beans, or it could be animal protein like chicken, fish, turkey, pork, or beef.
Okay.
And then your fruit would be another portion that is usually kind of like off to the side,
Okay.
in about a half a cup or a quarter of a cup. Or even fruit juice, which would be around 4 to 6 ounces, depending on the juice.
Okay.
And we all know we drink more than 4 to 6 ounces of
Right,
juice,
right.
because when we go into the stores, they very rarely will sell it in that portion size.
Right.
So right there, we know that we're getting more than enough of the fruit. If we're drinking juices primarily, we really should be drinking more water.
Okay.
So if you can just think about your plate every time you prepare a meal, or even when you go into a restaurant, think about how you're ordering. You want half of your plate. If any of us were to just do that, half of the plate being vegetables and the other portions would be, cut in half of the starch and the meat, we'd be really, really doing a great job.
That's a great visual. That's a great visual.
It is. So what has changed though? We laughed and I giggled in while we were in the green room getting ready about this thing about now trying to eat organic, and when I was talking about my grandmother who ate soul food and salt and lard, if you guys remember lard in the can, and she lived to be 98 and had absolutely no health issues. So what has changed?
What has changed has been a lot. What's changed is the way we've been living our lifestyles.
Okay.
So when your grandmother was a young woman, she was more than likely a lot more active. There was no sitting down in front of TV or sitting, at the desk doing work for 8 to 10 hours a day. She was out there working. She was walking. She more than likely would walk even to the grocery store and back, or whatever. So there was more physical activity, and we all probably have heard that sitting is the new smoking.
Absolutely.
So we need to get up and move our bodies.
Okay.
So when you're moving your body more, the things that you eat are more assimilated. They're better able to go through the body and do what it needs to do to nourish you on a cellular level. Also, the foods that we eat have changed.
Okay.
So there's a lot of prepackaged foods. Everything is processed. Everything is quick and easy and convenient. No one wants to cook. Well, I won't say no one, but most people either don't like cooking, they don't have time to cook, or whatever the situation is, maybe they just want someone to cook for them, and that's nothing wrong with that. I'd love for someone to cook for me every now and then. But so, a lot of things have changed in that way, but I think it's primarily the processed foods and the lack of physical activity. If we could switch those things around, I personally think that we don't always have to reach for the organic items.
Okay, so we could just do
I'll
the
agree with
normal.
that, yeah.
So Lauren, I'm gonna have you jump in because she talked about moving around, and we know that the fitness is your area. How does that come into play? Because again, I remember as a kid, of course I get that we jumped rope, and a lot of our children don't do as much as they used to, but I don't remember treadmills and the gym and and the push to do those things.
Well, in our community, we have some different impediments that we're dealing with from time to time. Like you said, back in our day, we played double dutch, we played tag, we ran outside, and we were able to stay outside until the lights came on, in the summertime. We stayed active. We weren't sitting in front of stuff with the Game Boys all the way up to whatever the new game is, Mortal Kombat, so those kind of things right now. But in our communities, we have unique issues that we have to deal with. And those issues consist of neighborhood impediments. Basically, we don't have too many big box gyms popping up in the hood, more or less. In addition to that, we have other barriers in our communities, such as crime, rodents. Unfortunately, we have some areas where our sanitation isn't where it needs to be, and those things are prohibitors with people going out and basically getting exercise. In our community, especially. We're talking about obesity tonight also. The numbers are stifling. Nationwide you'll see obesity rates of 63%. However, in our community, the rates are significantly higher. We're looking at 72-73% obesity rates, depending on what part of the country that you're in. This is primarily prevalent in our urban communities.
Okay. We have a caller. We have a caller.
All right.
Okay, caller, go ahead with your question.
Good evening, ladies. How are you?
Excellent.
We're good. How are you?
Great.
Oh, I'm okay. Doing a great job for the city of Chicago, I must say.
Yeah, thank you.
There's all kinds of ways to do exercise. You don't have to belong to a gym. Find yourself a nice stairwell. Just go up and down, up and down.
Without a doubt.
Find your nice neighborhood, walk around the neighborhood, and the lady in the middle is so right about food. In the old days, it used to be an old saying, you are what you eat, and you are absolutely correct. I worked in the food industry pretty much all my life, and I know we have a lot of yummy things in there to eat, and sometimes people like to eat a little bit too more, but if you do, like you said, only eat a half a portion what you eat and push it away, whether you're real large, medium, or small, you got to form your own body. Now, you got to remember, obesity goes through with diabetes. Now you got other troubles. So your intake of your food every day on a routine, like the lady to the left of you, drink a lot of water. Water, as much water as you can possibly drink, as long as it's nice and clean.
Thank you so much, caller, for that information. Looks like we have another caller. Caller, are you there?
Yes, I am.
You have a question?
Yes, I do. Does exercise, can it actually reverse diabetes? I'm a diabetic, and I was told that if I exercise, I could possibly get off my meds.
That's a very good question, and it's absolutely possible. That pertains primarily to type 2 diabetes, and not so much consistent with type 1. In type 2 diabetes, basically you're having difficulty metabolizing your glucose in your system. As a personal trainer, I have worked at different nonprofit senior housing facilities in the city, and we had women and men who were taking metformin. They suffered from obesity. They had high blood pressure. Some of them had cardiovascular disease issues, but the underlying factor there primarily was the diabetes mixed with obesity. Through a moderate to low impact exercise program, there is the potential to reverse your diabetes if it's type 2 diabetes. But in addition to that, most of that is contingent on your diet.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Would you agree to Christine?
1,000%. I mean, that's even for someone who's not diabetic, a person who wants to lose weight. The saying goes, and, this is just a saying, but it is some much truth to this. The majority of your weight loss efforts are found in the kitchen. About 70 to 80% of your weight loss efforts are found in the kitchen. And then your exercise efforts will support what changes you are making in your diet. So if I had any recommendations for you, caller, as a registered dietitian, I would say really start working on your diet first, and you'll start to see some changes, even if you can't get on a regular exercise routine right away. You'll start to see changes once you start to change your diet.
Thank you. Looks like we have another caller.
I just want to ask Christine to address something. When you have diabetes, talk about the types of things that you should include and not include in your diet, basically.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see what this caller has to say first.
Is this the third caller? Are you there?
Yes, it's me again. I lost you. I'd like to give a comment for that last man with the diabetes on the number 2, because my husband has a diabetes number 2 also. And what he's been doing is watch his carbs.
Yes.
If you eat a potato, that's okay, or a piece of bread. But when you're done eating your dinner, try to do some exercise to bring that sugar down.
Yeah.
Because that sugar on my husband fluctuates like a roller coaster.
Yes.
And we're Italian. We eat bread, or we eat pasta, or we eat pizza. But we keep him down, and I just wanted to say thank you for taking my comment, and God bless you.
Thank you so much.
Hi,
Really
ladies.
appreciate you engaging with us. Actually, looks like we have a fourth caller.
Go, girls.
Do we have another caller?
Yes, good evening, ladies.
Good evening.
Just wanted to ask a question. What determines, say, chubby from fat from obese? What stages
That's
do you
what I want to know.
What
I like that
defines
question.
You want to address it or I'll address it?
You can go ahead. I'll let you do that.
Well, a lot of times you hear the term BMI thrown around. That's your body mass index. And it's a calculation based on your height, your weight, your waist circumference. We have different breakpoints that determine overweight. For instance, if you look at a BMI chart, it's based on a very basic calculation. If you have a BMI of, say, up to 28, you're considered basically overweight. At 30, you're considered obese. However, BMI, the body mass index, isn't always a good determinant of whether or not a person is overweight. As we all know, muscle weighs more than fat. So if you're a bodybuilder, basically, and have a BMI of 30, that does not necessarily mean that you're obese. It's because you have more density, a higher, your muscles are more dense than basically the fat.
Yeah.
So, by chart, there are different breakpoints. However, as we start to examine that, another barometer, I'll say, that we use is your waist circumference. And the reason that we're using that, that's a better indication of the amount of body fat that you're carrying versus your height versus your bone structure. So there are different breakpoints that we look at, and the two calculations that we basically use are BMI and your waist circumference.
So explain that. What is that? So if your waist is...
If your waist is, well, it depends on a person's height.
Right.
It depends on a person's bone density also. But it also includes, of course, a person with a larger waist has a more propensity to be a fatter person,
Right.
most likely. Most likely. So oftentimes we look at your area in here, and that's like with the bulk of your fat. Those are the areas that are usually of concern when it comes to like looking at high blood pressure, risk of cardiovascular disease.
Okay. So that was going to another question, and for both of you, what are you seeing as in terms of how we're not eating or how we should be eating and not exercising, should be exercising? How is it really affecting our community? Like, what are you seeing out there as you are seeing patients and clients, and what's going on out there?
So for me, I work primarily with women.
Okay.
And what I'm noticing, my clients are usually clients who are very busy. They are doing more than enough and neglecting themselves in the end. So I usually work with the women who have sacrificed their own health for the needs of others.
Okay.
And I think that that's a big problem. As women, we are natural born nurturers. And, if you think back to like your grandmother, for instance, she probably was that nurturing type. She was probably the matriarch of the family and all those things. But at the same time, she didn't have all the responsibilities that us modern day women have.
Very
and
true.
so we as the modern day women are trying to take on all of the things, but we don't have the same resources that our grandparents had, the support, like you're saying. And so then, because of all of the things that we are trying to take on for ourselves, when it comes to our eating habits, our diet, and the things that we already know are right, we neglect that for convenience, for fast foods, for the fast food lane, prepackaged meals instead of preparing our own, and and that's what I've noticed in my practice with the women that I work with, is that because their lives are just so overwhelming and busy, they just cannot seem to find the time for themselves.
Okay.
Well, some of the things that I've come across, once upon a time, as fashion changes, we go through different trends. I started in this area. I've always been a person involved in the exercise arena, basically. But I've noticed, like, since the Jane Fonda days to now, you have different frames and body types that are more popular than others. One of the things is of a concern to me in my community is the fact that we are glorifying the overweight woman. Now, it's one thing to be, a curvy, voluptuous person, again, looking at waist circumference and your BMI, but at the same time, these are also, like you said, you're very busy. These are the same people who are not getting their blood sugar tested, they're not going for their health screenings, et cetera, et cetera. So as we glorify through social media and everything else, the larger woman, I think we need to also keep in mind that that's the same person that needs to maybe keep a handle on where her health really is also.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I think it's important in that, and I actually work with a lot of plus size and full figure women, and one of the things that we promote, it's not even this. It's not telling you to go from a size 20 to a size 5.
Never
It's
that,
about
never that,
being
right.
healthy.
Exactly.
You know, it's just about being healthy and living a healthy lifestyle.
That's what the emphasis should be.
Definitely, absolutely. I definitely agree with that. So, you are tuning in to the Doty Report on Comprehensive Health. We are talking about nutrition. We're talking about fitness. We're talking about obesity, and we're just having conversation about how things have changed in terms of the things that we eat, how we are so busy that we don't take care of ourselves, how we have to. So what about diets? Diets and this stringent fitness workout. Do we need to do that? Should we take supplements? Are supplements good? And when we're talking about losing weight.
Okay.
I always think like I'm right now. I want to drop some pounds, and I've always been. Even when I was in high school, with my friends was a size 3. I was a 3, but they were maybe 100 pounds, and I still was 110. So I've always been a heavier weight, regardless. Even when I was smaller. So. Are diet supplements good?
So when you're referring to supplements, are you referring to like vitamin mineral supplements? Are you talking about shakes and bars?
All of that. What is good and what's not good?
Well, I think it really just depends on the individual. I personally think that, and this is a controversial topic, really, even in the industry, but I personally take a multivitamin every day, plus a few other supplements. For specific reasons. So you have to, with supplementation, you have to, number one, take a high quality thing. You know, you don't necessarily want to, take something off of the shelf. You really want to get something that's high quality. Multivitamin is just like across the board the recommendation for everybody, because we all know that we're not doing our 100% best, and it's like an insurance policy for your health, right? So you're going to take that little bit of extra to fill in the gaps.
Gotcha.
And then if you work with a health professional like myself or someone else that is trained in, being able to get you tested for certain vitamin deficiencies through a blood test or even a saliva test, DNA testing is the newest thing, then that person can go even further into your cellular makeup, your DNA makeup, and give you some really good recommendations in regards to specific vitamins. So for me, for instance, I was experiencing recently a lot of hair shedding. Just crazy amounts of hair coming out the tub. I was just like, oh my goodness. So I have the background to know what to take, and so I'm taking a mega dose of this one particular vitamin. So it's really important to get tested when it comes to supplements. Just don't take anything, but if you really just want to take something basic, get yourself a really high quality multivitamin.
That sounds like really good advice. That sounds like good advice. When it comes to the exercise portion, like the American Medical Association and CDC, they all recommend like 150 minutes of moderate exercise a week, and that's for children, adults, and active mature adults as well. But we don't always have time to sit down and do 30 minutes a day sometimes, and it's okay to do 10 minutes here, 10 minutes here, 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there. No one says you have to go into depth and go into the gym memberships, that kind of thing, because, again, in our community, that's sometimes prohibitive. We just don't have those kind of resources to put aside for gym memberships. But you have access to so many different digital products. You have apps to deal with. You have
YouTube.
Exactly. So there's really no reason outside of organizing your time. These are things what they're like put into a time management program. You have to take time for yourself. It's imperative to take time for yourself, and sometimes before you take time for anybody else, because if your health is impaired, you cannot be in position to help somebody else, basically.
Right. And I am an expert, self-proclaimed, at helping people figure out the time issue.
That's imperative.
99.9% of the women that I work with will come and say, well, I just don't have time. Okay, well, we're going to work this out, because I promise you that you have the time. And so that's the first thing that we work on, because if we can't really help you see, if I can't help you see that you actually have time, then nothing that I tell you to do, or suggest I should say, is going to work. So
Absolutely.
if you already have it in your mind that you don't have time, then anything that I suggest about your diet or supplements, or maybe your shopping and cooking for yourself, you might be like, look, girl, I don't have time to cook 3 meals a week. I don't have time. I just don't have time. So I have to. We have to start at the foundation and help you to see where your gaps are, because a lot of times, we're doing things for other people that we necessarily don't need to be doing. I mean, even if it's our children, sometimes we just baby these kids and they like 15, 16 years old, we still fixing them breakfast. Like, hello? So it's just about, helping them find the time for themselves, and then we make the changes.
So we have got, so we have another caller. Really quick caller, because it's almost time to wrap up. Are you there?
Yes, I'd just like to say I'm a senior citizen, 76, I weigh 120, and last time I had my blood pressure was 120 over 80, and I never see so many fat young people. And I don't know what's going to happen to these people, because they're going to have high blood pressure, cholesterol, and they're going to have everything. I never saw so many fat young people. And when I go to church, I be dressing up real good, and they be wanting to know what my age. I said, don't worry about my age, lose y'all weight. And that's my comment.
Okay, Mama.
Thank you,
Kudos to
caller.
you.
We really appreciate that.
That's fantastic, though. That's fantastic.
She's speaking some truth right there,
This is definitely, obviously, a hot topic. Definitely a hot topic. We're definitely gonna have to have you ladies back,
would be
so we
great.
can talk about it a little
to
bit
come
more.
back.
It's so important. It's important to me. I know I've learned, just for this little bit of time, some tidbits for myself. And we know that nutrition and fitness, it's just important that we live a healthy lifestyle.
Absolutely.
To try to help battle some of these diseases that are within our community. So, and I think it starts with that, right?
Yes, and it
Without
starts
a
with this time issue, y'all. Come on now.
This time
Make the
issue.
time. Make the time.
For more information about the Georgia Doty and the Doty report, you can give us a call at 312-282-1375 or email us the dotyreport@gmail.com. We really, really appreciate you tuning in. We will be back next Monday at 7:30, same time, same place. CAN TV viewers, we really, really appreciate you tuning in. We thank these beautiful ladies.
Thank you for having us.
They have
Thank you
made
for
my
watching.
job easy tonight. We look forward to having you back.
That would be awesome. I would
Look
love
forward to
it.
having you back
Absolutely.
this quarter for sure. Again, callers, we thank you. We thank you, viewers. And again, this is the Doty Report on comprehensive health, and we pray that you have a great evening and a great rest of productive week. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Bye.